Hello, welcome to another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting live here at Hermana here in New York City. As you know, the city is slowly reopening and is almost back to normal, and the live jazz music scene is really off and popping. And tonight here at Hermana, I'm actually honored to profile a young pianist who really has not only taken the music world by storm, she's also bringing a very special voice to jazz piano. Arcoiris Sandoval hails from Tucson, Arizona, and she has really entrusted herself not only in Black American roots music, but she's also been able to take the music forward with her ensemble, Sonic Asylum. Now, she has played with the likes of Mr. Alan Harris, as well as the Mimi Jones Band, as well as her own quartet and quintet and trio. Tonight you're going to see her play with the great bassist Lonnie Plaxico, and I had a chance to sit down to break bread with her to talk about, one, why she decided to play piano. Also, she talks about and elaborates her role as a composer and band leader, and also talk about how she is helping women in jazz move forward as far as breaking down gender roles, as far as being a band leader, manager, as well as running labels and also playing major festivals. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the sounds of Miss Arcoiris Sandoval featuring Lonnie Plaxico on bass. Live here on the Pace Report, live from Hermana here in New York City. You know, I have to ask you, starting off, you know, you've been playing with a lot of people here in the last decade, and you being a leader, Soul Asylum, it's a quartet and a trio. What are some of the nucleuses of putting this ensemble together, but also how you compose for this group, being a band leader?
I think I definitely think about how Ellington would kind of write for his big band members, and so for me it's both like a combination of my more modern compositions, and I'm trying to always enhance their playing, because in my band I have kind of a set people, and so I'm always thinking of highlighting them. So we do my tunes, and then I know like Roxy Koss is one of my tenor players, and Lucas Pino's in there too. And Roxy really loves Art Blakey, so she listens to a lot of that. So I always try to, you know, put some hard-hitting swing music in there in the set, because it really highlights her, and like at the same time then we'll mix it up with a lot of the more modern stuff. But I mean, one of my biggest inspirations is definitely like Billy Childs.
We're gonna go into him. You put the cart before the wheel. I mean, Billy is a tremendous composer and a player. I profiled him on the Pace Report.
Oh, great!
Yeah, he's a great dude. You know, your father was very instrumental in teaching you the role of improvisation at 2 and 3 years old.
Yeah.
Did that affect you as a pianist, or did that affect you as you were studying this music? Because jazz is not like classical. It's not an easy music.
No. He started me really young, and I had to sort of find the love in it for myself, because in a way he sort of manufactured an accompanist, because he's a tenor player, so he really wanted someone he could really mold and play gigs with him, and I did do that. I grew up doing that, and it was a very interesting childhood. I was very different from everyone else, you know, just growing up listening to Herbie Hancock and McCoy, and you know, not really having anyone to talk to about that for a really long time in Tucson, Arizona. So I tried to run away here when I was 8, actually. That was my goal, because he taught me tune-ups, So What, I think at that point around midnight too, and I felt like, you know, I gotta go to New York, because he's always been talking about New York. So I had a little bag, and I was just like ready to be out here. So for me, I don't know, it was like I was listening to jazz with him daily. I mean, we were always listening to John Coltrane. That was really the biggest one, just listening to John Coltrane daily, and like analyzing McCoy's solos.
How hard is it to analyze McCoy's solos at 8 or 9 years old?
Well, actually,
I mean, you should be outside playing, you know, basketball, or, you know, volleyball, or, you know, gymnastics. You should be doing something, you know, normal. That's very hard.
It was. So actually, the first record he turned me on to, I remember, because we had a ritual where we'd eat oatmeal, and he would have me listen to something, and it was Ascension. I think it was Ascension, was John Coltrane's Ascension, because he was really like, he really wanted to know. I don't know.
Wait, time out.
Yeah.
We didn't go to like ballads or Love Supreme. You went to the hard, okay, this is over the top John Coltrane.
This is like, do acid and
you know, right? You know, there's 3 saxophones, 2 drummers. I mean, this is a very hard. This is a very hard piece of music to digest for the first time.
Yeah, that was sort of like. I mean, he'd been playing it this whole time, but for me to sit down and really listen, I was just like, I hated it. I was like, I don't know what's happening.
You poor thing.
So then, you know, I think he might have done that to sort of see, like if he did that, then I would really love hearing something melodic, you know, like Love Supreme, or, you know, something more not Ascension.
Wow, so I take it there was no Britney Spears or Backstreet Boys.
No.
at the Sandoval's household? None.
I did it. I remember I would go to school and that was what everyone was listening to, and I would try to. I would be totally ostracized if I didn't try to blend in. So I would, and sing. I love NSYNC, but like I'd go home and we were always listening to Tower of Power or like just a lot of Bill Evans, Ravel, a lot of classical and jazz, and just going to school. I never really, it was difficult. I didn't really listen to a lot of pop music. I mean, it was nice, but it just wasn't
I get
for
it.
me.
I get it. For you to say, or for you to do this full time, you pretty much had to go, you pretty much knew at about 14 or 15 you wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think for me a pivotal moment was definitely, we were in the car and my dad was listening to the radio, and Billy Child's album, I think it was A Child Within, came on. It was Aaron's song. I'll never forget it. It was like one of those moments. Because I'd been listening to so much McCoy and Bud Powell, and just to hear something that sounded like cinematic and modern, and I just was like, can we just pull the car over and just listen to this? And I remember he didn't really like it. He was like, it's too nice. It's too... And I was crazy about it. I was like, this is so awesome. This is what you can do. And then that was it. You know, it just was like, because I'd already loved improvising. My mom loved when I just improvised for hours. So I would improvise stuff that like crossed genres, but it wasn't, I don't know, my dad was like, no, that's not jazz, you know, but then I heard Billy Childs doing something that just combined so many different types of music, and I just was like, that's amazing. So
How did you stumble into odd meters? That's one of your trademarks with Sonic Asylum and your composition and how you play. You like those real odd meters. You're strange.
I'm odd. Peculiar meters. Honestly, I think it's like I grew up listening to so much different, like he'd also had me listening to like Balkan music, a lot of Bartok. I think at that point, in some ways, even if it was in 4, I'd be listening literally to what was happening in certain classical repertoire, like Stravinsky. And so I didn't like, for me it was all one thing, because that's all I listened to every day. It was just so much music, and odd meters for me was just like, if I sat down and because he would have me compose, and I would be like, well, I'm hearing it this way or feeling it this way, and it would end up being in 13 or 11, and I was like, all right. And that was it. That was how it would be. Or like one of my first like jazz originals was called Clarity, and it ended up being in 15/16, which was like really crazy, but it felt like when people would hear it, it doesn't really feel like it's that, but it is that. But if you just added that one, but it wasn't, if I added that 1/16 note, it wouldn't be the same to me. But yeah, I've always done odd meter stuff.
Your mother was very instrumental in you understanding the force of music, how it plays on soothing, healing, and the ritual of people going through a lot of processes, mental processes. Music has always been, for you, something that is a cure or an ailment. It cures an ailment. How do you explain that as you play, or how you communicate the music to your music fans?
Wow, my mom. Yeah. So she got sick when I was very young. I must have been, I don't know, 5 or 6. And this was a genetic autoimmune disease triggered by mold in the house. And Arizona's a really dry place, so it's kind of insane that we got that in Arizona. But so then she started to gradually stay home a little more over the years, and I think I just started to gravitate towards things that I saw how her energy was like reacting to something more suspended, more open, or more melodic, and not like just playing tune-up or something. Like she really loved when I would improvise. So those improvisations, I think over time, they sort of evolved into like my music and the way that I would improvise. Tonight I don't know, tonight was a little more like just having a lot of fun, but when I play with my band, we have a tune called like Spiral into Oblivion, and the way that one moves, it's definitely like these like parallel major, it's like in thirds, these major chords, and those parallel in thirds major chords, C to A flat, then to this like E minor 11 to like F minor 9. That's like, it's like a really pretty movement. And I know that whenever I'd play like major third movement, John Coltrane, but she would feel so good listening to it. And I think over time that just sort of like went into my music, the melodies, and just certain things that I saw her gravitate towards, or if she told me, oh, that makes me feel really good right now, I'd keep playing it. I mean, I'd play it. As long as she wanted me to play piano for her, I would always hope that, you know, it made her feel better. And when she passed when I was 19, and I thought that I shouldn't be a musician anymore, so I actually quit music for a couple of years because I thought maybe I should just focus on medical school and become a pulmonologist. But I was still performing and doing a lot of shows on the side. And I remember one time there was like a cancer patient came up to me after a show, and he said this music felt like healing to me. It was so amazing. Like, I loved hearing you play piano. I forgot that I was sick, and that really stuck with me, because that's what my mom used to tell me. I forgot that I can't breathe right now. And I was like, so actually during the pandemic, I actually got like I think I might have gotten this virus like last March, and I had asthma from it, like long-term asthma. But every time I'd start playing, it would go away. It wouldn't even actually matter what I would play. But anyway, yeah, it's just, you know, music as a healing force is such a big part of my life, I think, just because of her too. Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. did an interview with George Cables.
Oh, I love George Cable.
He loves you too.
Oh my God.
He spoke highly of you in the interview. Yeah, he has a lot of nothing but positive things. He's like, you're like one of his favorite pianists right now. That's coming up right now.
Oh,
so
that's amazing.
but George is a guy that too, he knows BS when he sees it. And you know, as a female musician playing in a male-dominated genre, and you leading your own band, do you still see any obstacles that you have to overcome, or do you feel that now women are really kind of becoming the equal as far as playing, as well as the writing, as well as behind the scenes, maybe managing, maybe, you know, running labels? Do you think that you right now are doing so much more and opening doors for other females?
I hope so. Yeah, absolutely. I grew up and there'd only be one or two other female musicians, and we were friends, but I just remember it was hard because the really serious ones, they were really hard to talk to because they didn't want to be my friend, you know. So I had a really hard time like bonding with any man, young man at the time. And then I had a lot of issues in undergrad with a lot of different other students and teachers and grad school. And so over time though, like I'd say the last maybe 5 years, 6 years, I'm amazed by the empowerment and the bravery coming forth too. Like women they're talking about their experiences and they're naming names. They're saying this person did this, and it's like, it's amazing. It's really amazing to see that kind of courage. And I see that people are taking action, and to be honest, I've seen a lot of things changing. And like Roxy Koss started Women in Jazz organization, which is, it's really cool. I don't know, I feel like that's actually had some impact. There's another one that's, oh boy, I can't remember, but some of my friends are in it. Linda O's in it, and Kavita Shah, and they started this whole, like, it's like a contract that festivals have to have, so, you know, like you can't like do certain things to them, you know, that are normal. I've had a lot of festival people just grab me. Like, don't just, what? Like, you can't just grab a person, like that's not, or like they just grab your face, and this is like from Alien, you know, that like every time someone does this, I've had it done to me several times by different male musicians and festival people, and it's like the alien that comes out. Right. What? No one wants that.
But you know, it's funny you say that, because saxophonist Erica Von Kleist, she made a big rant about that on Facebook a couple of weeks ago about
how, really?
Yeah, I mean, she's talking about how, I won't give the name of the festival, but she's feeling that, you know, that women were left out, and this was the number one hub where people come all over the world.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm just looking at, you know, so many fantastic, I mean, Tia Fuller.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Who I've interviewed here many times. You know, was part of Soul, which won the Academy Award.
That's
I'm seeing a lot of great things happening. And
absolutely.
I just think that now, I think the times have changed where women have to come out and speak out. Do you think that's part of the reason why everything is changing now?
I love that they can come out and speak out, or like if they don't feel comfortable, it's okay. There's so many women that support each other now. Like my friend Allison is here. She's a wonderful guitar player, Allison Yaffe, and I finally have like a best friend my age, like that we just hang out and talk about music. It's like the first time I've ever had that, but we, you know, what's beautiful is for me is seeing how people are talking about their experiences. I've talked about some experiences online, but I haven't named names or anything. I just don't feel comfortable.
Right, this world is so, this jazz community is yay big, so you know.
Yeah, but I mean, I definitely have run the gamut of almost every and that's another thing. I think almost every female musician I know, with the exception of a couple, they've had just awful, like, physical volatile encounters with other male peers, either their peers or elders, and sometimes I get stories from some of my really close friends about people that I would see all the time and be like, oh my God, you know, I just saw blah blah blah, and they're just like, oh, that guy, and I'm like, oh no, not that one, no way. But it was horrible because it would just be like everyone would have a story about.
It's like a greatest hits collection.
Oh my God! Oh.
Volume 1.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right,
just all over the place, and you know, and that was kind of like, but I do feel like things are also, I feel like I want to have a more forgiving mindset too, in a way, because not just me personally, like I've had people that have done things to me and they've apologized. They've been like, I'm so sorry, and it wasn't anything like egregious, but when I get an apology and if I feel like it's heartfelt, if it's someone who just really wants to work with me again and it's cool, then like I can go forward with that, and it's all right. But I do think that it's good to hold, like, professors, people in education absolutely need to be held accountable, like, right away. I would hear stories about some of the professors I had. I didn't know for years. I would just think they were fine, and I would just, oh my God, I would hear these crazy stories, and they would be out there in the public and they would get fired, and they'd say, I never did that to you, but I'm a woman, and I know what it's like to be in those situations. And if you're with a professor and they violate you like that, it's just horrifying. You feel like you can't trust anyone, because I've had things happen, but a lot of these professors have already lost their jobs the last few years. But it's definitely a much more female empowered community. I feel that way, absolutely. You got Miki Yamanaka.
Yeah.
And my friend Allison's an amazing guitar player. Mimi Jones. Mimi Jones is one of my biggest mentors and heroes since I moved here. So yeah.
Arcoiris Sandoval, what does jazz music mean to you?
Well, I would say that I've learned so much, especially I feel like from my Black American friends about what this country really is. And for me, it's a social, like it's a very social music, so it's freedom, but I never forget, like for me it's like always paying homage to the answers, and not only the musicians that came before me, but like all the stuff that they went through as Black Americans especially. So for example, one of the people that I've thought about my whole life is Bud Powell. I can't get over what happened to him. It's just...
Well, and the sad thing about Bud Powell is that I would say that he was hiding in Paris because of the fact that the circumstances, they mislabeled his diagnosis, just a lot of stuff that Bud Powell went through.
Yeah.
He had to go to Paris because that was the only place that would accept him who he was. And it was not even on his home turf of New York. That's crazy.
It's insane. Like, so my dad grew up, he was living in New York when he was like 19 to his 20s, and then he would just tell me all these stories growing up about what this music was. So much more than just the music. Like, there was so much history. There was like civil rights going on, and for me, I've always felt like as much as it's freedom for me to explore harmonically within this paradigm of rhythms and blues, it's also for me, I think about, I think it's weird, but I'm always thinking like McCoy Tyner and Bud Powell, just like thank you every day, every time I play. And Jerry Allen, I thank her all the time because she was such a pioneer, and she was a woman. Like she really went through so much, and she just paved the way. She just, and especially as a Black female, I know it's hard. So for me, it's about just remembering the history, and just want to keep it moving forward as best I can.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting live here at Harmonic here in New York City. I'd like to personally thank the talented Arcoiris Sandoval for her time. Please support her upcoming project as well as her club and tour dates. For more information, please visit her online at arcoirissandoval.com. Also, I'd like to personally thank the staff and management here at Hermana for their warm hospitality. Please visit them online, hermananyc.com, for the upcoming tour dates as well as directions. Also, people, please like, share, and subscribe to my videos here on The Pace Report, here on YouTube and Vimeo, as well as visit my website, thepacereport.com, for my weekly column as well as my past segments. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time, peace.